The following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports. Since April 20th, Rich Beil had owned a commanding lead in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series points. He had won 2 races in a row, and with top 5 finishes in 9 of 11 events, the Sears Die-Hard team seemed invincible. That was until 2 weeks ago in Topeka, when Beil finished a dismal 23rd. Then last week in Indy, Beil rallied, but only to a 10th place finish. That passed the point lead to Jack Spray. Now, with red-hot Ron Hornaday and Joe Ruttman riding their bumper, the championship is very much up for grabs. So get set as the bumping and banging of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moves to the short track in Flemington, New Jersey, to begin the final 10-race dash to the checkers. They don't make days a whole lot nicer than this one as we welcome you to the Flemington Speedway in New Jersey, race number 17 of 26 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Glad you're able to spend this day with us. There's a big story developing after the injuries in last weekend's Brickyard 400. Gingerly, Rich Beil gets set for today's race. Tammy Jo Kirk is here, but there's no sponsor on her truck. We'll update that story as the day continues. Meanwhile, Kurt Rohrig Motorsports continues to rotate their drivers. This weekend, they're back to square one. Michael Dokken drives the Dana Dodge. But maybe the biggest story of the day unfolded at roughly 20 after 1 this afternoon Eastern Time. That truck surprised everyone by winning the Busch pole, but Matt Yoakum, he also found the wall.
Terry Cook turned in the best lap of his qualifying career, winning the pole by 1/1000th of a second. But lap 2 was his worst as he crashed into the turn 1 foam. NASCAR impounded all the trucks after qualifying, but this crew had to work on their truck. So now they will start at the tail end of the field. Terry, you guys worked on the truck. Just how good is it now after the crash?
I think we'll be pretty good. Most of the damage was cosmetic thanks to the styrofoam blocks here at Flemington. And I mean, though we got to start in the back, we've got 200 laps to head towards the front.
Well, this truck is beaten and battered. It's sponsored by the PBA. He hopes to throw his first strike for victory today at Flemington.
Matt, thank you very much. Very interesting story on pit road. As you look at the Flemington Speedway, with a different kind of horsepower back in 1855. But now the grandstands, as they have since 1916, are hosting racing fans NASCAR style. And today the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is here at the Flemington Speedway. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold, joined this afternoon by Phil Parsons. What an unusual racetrack. Great tradition, but you don't see many square racetracks in this country, do you?
You really don't, Eli. The racetrack is indeed square, but the drivers drive it like it's round. They keep the steering wheel turned to the left. They never straighten it out the entire way around the racetrack. But it offers a lot of challenges.
And the pavement that you see, that darker area in the middle, that's not rubber that's been laid down by the local NASCAR modifieds, but indeed the track has been repaved. 2.5 grooves worth of repaving since last the tour was here a year ago. One other note about the Flemington Speedway. These babies right here, the styrofoam retaining walls. You've already seen them come into play today with our Busch pole sitter Terry Cook, and this really is a major step forward as far as driver safety is concerned.
A great innovation, Eli. As a matter of fact, Ricky Rudd credits the styrofoam blocks for saving him from possibly a serious injury in a practice crash at Watkins Glen yesterday.
And of course, even a year ago, we saw these walls come into play exactly where we're standing right now during the running of the Stevens Beil 200. So it's something we'll be talking about as our day continues. But right now, you know the story about the drivers. You've seen the racetrack, the starting lineup. It's all coming up on TNN when we return. TNN's live coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Jeep and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. A sun-drenched crowd here in Flemington, New Jersey, as we are set for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200. Time now for our AutoZone Prep for the Race, brought to you by the more than 1,625 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
We got $320,000 purse up for grabs today. 30 trucks will be starting this race, Eli.
And we take a look at the starting grid, brought to you today by General Motors and Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Push pole, first time in his career for Terry Cook. Jimmy Hensley looks for win number 1. The winner in Odessa, Missouri, Tony Raines, and 2 wins this year for Kenny Irwin. Michael Dokken returns to the Dana Dodge, and Ron Hornaday 5 wins in his last 7 races. Dave Rezendes 4th here a year ago, and Bob Brevak's driver Tony Roper. 54 starts without a win. Bob Keselowski starts in 10th today. Tammy Jo Kirk looking for a new sponsor. Chuck Bound. Brian Reffner, who won the pole here a year ago. There's Joe Ruttman, the Topeka winner. Rick Corelli and local favorite John Blewett III. Stacy Compton and Mike Wallace, who's making his first visit here to Flemington. Mike Bliss, who finished 2nd here a year ago, and road racing ace Boris Said. Another local favorite, that's Pete Britton in the Auto Palace Chevy truck. And Rich Bickle banged up from his injuries at the Brickyard. Brian Cunningham and Alabama's Rick Crawford. Jay Sauter and Bobby Donner. Then you go to the provisional starting spots. Butch Miller is in. Doug George, that's one of Andy Gensman's team trucks. Kevin Harvick. And the final starter today, Mark Gibson in his Chevy truck. So we are now set to go racing here at the famed Flemington Speedway. This is a 5/8 of a mile racetrack, so 200 laps here today equals 125 miles. Banking, very limited. Turns 1 and 2 banked just 6 degrees. Turns 3 and 4 banked 8 degrees. And the straightaways, if you can find them, are only 845 feet long. But now we're set for the start. Let's go trackside for the words we have all been awaiting here today.
Drivers, start your engines.
And with that command, we are going racing at the Flemington Speedway. Glad you're with us here at TNN Motorsports. The Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 goes green next. The field now getting the 2 to go signal. We are 2 laps away from going green here at the Flemington Speedway in New Jersey. Eli Gold, Phil Parsons, Matt Yoakum, and that man, Tony Raines, who has onboard cameras for you in the Pennzoil Dodge today. Michael Dokken back aboard the Dana Dodge. He'll be carrying onboard pictures for us. Of course, Ron Hornaday always does here on TNN Motorsports, and his truck is equipped with cameras. Bob Keselowski's Dodge also will be giving us good looks today of this squared circle. Mike Bliss, the ASE machine. And the final onboard look will come from Boris Said and the Federated Auto Parts 1-800-COLLECT truck. There you see already our pole sitter, Terry Cook, having dropped to the back of the field. Certainly it beats the alternative of having to have gone home, Phil. But it's got to be a crushing way to start the race after blistering the field and winning your first career pole.
Well, it sure is, but you know, the guys really did a yeoman's effort to get that truck repaired. He had quite a bit of damage to the front and the rear. You notice that Tony Raines in the Pennzoil truck is now on the pole. Even though Jimmy Hensley qualified 2nd, they moved the line up. Since he was on the inside line, 3rd, 5th, 7th, all of those trucks move up. So that's why Tony Raines is indeed on the pole.
Doug George also worked on his truck between qualifying and the start of the race. The same with Kevin Harvick. So those trucks, along with Terry Cook, our pole sitter, moving to the back of the field. Who didn't qualify today? Andy Gensman, a semi-regular, so too Eric Norris. The other names are local favorites, including Billy Pauch, who has for himself some 250 victories on this Flemington Speedway over the years. The vast majority in modifieds. There was a modified race here earlier today, and John Blewett III, who is driving the 05 truck, was the winner this afternoon. So he's already got a victory under his belt. But we're glad you're with us, and here we go, racing at Flemington Speedway. 200 laps. Green flag is in the air.
This is a real unique racetrack, Eli, and the fact that the trucks almost back off before they get to the start-finish line.
Tony Raines to the inside in that yellow number 19. Jimmy Hensley in the 43. Lap number 1. Sliding it off the corner is Hensley, so Raines has the lead. First lap around, and these these trucks get very, very loose beginning the straightaways. What little straightaway there is, it's really been a tough place to get a hold of here today.
I've talked to a lot of guys this morning, Eli. A lot of people have either detuned their engines, they've detuned the carburetor. Some guys actually run a smaller carburetor. We ask our engine builders to build us as much horsepower as you can, and all the guys come here and try to figure out a way to take the horsepower out of the trucks.
Right, some have detuned it to the tune of 20% as you look at 4th place Kenny Irwin ahead of 5th place Michael Dokken. Others are making sure they're very safe as far as how they lean it out, plus the timing. Others have just brought their worst power plant with them and try and get through, because it's basically your foot. You're going to go half to 3/4 throttle here, and that's all.
You basically turn the steering wheel, Eli, to the left about 6-8 degrees, and then you steer the truck with a throttle all the way around the racetrack.
There's the battle now for 2nd spot. Hornaday in the 16 has the inside and makes it pay against Jimmy Hensley. So Hornaday, who has won 5 of the last 7 races on the series, now grabs 2nd spot. Hensley is in 3rd. Then you see 4th place coming into view there. Irwin and Dokken. Then Charles Hardy's machine, Dave Rezendes, as you ride with Michael Dokken.
A lot of the drivers this morning were very complimentary of the new asphalt, Eli. They said that the track is a lot stickier than it was last year. They said last year during the race, the track really got slick and they could barely get a hold of it. But this year, they said the asphalt is so good that they can get hooked up as well as you can on this racetrack, for a number of laps.
Again, Irwin and Dokken right there, and Michael Dokken, who was quickest in practice today, will grab 4th spot away. Dokken was quick in practice, though obviously didn't qualify on the Busch pole and started instead at 5th. Dave Rezendes there in the 35 has a lot on his mind. His mom has been very, very ill, and Dave Rezendes with that on his mind as we ride with Bob Keselowski.
Got a good look at the Quaker State truck of Jack Sprague, the Chevrolet.
He is the point leader, Sprague is. Had a birthday here yesterday. Drivers had a cake for him. Jack doesn't like to acknowledge birthdays. I said, it sure as heck is better than the alternative of not having them.
I'm not sure how many of us like acknowledging birthdays either.
Yeah. But again, beats the heck out of the alternative. Now we ride with Ron Hornaday. This is for the lead. Tony Raines and Hornaday. Want to also say hello to Dennis Huth, who is not here today. NASCAR's Vice President of Administration, normally comes to every single event, but his mom has been ill, and he is out on the West Coast, being where he should be with family at this time. And Dennis, we all have your family in our hearts and our prayers as this race unfolds here at Flemington. Hornaday for the lead.
It almost looked like Hornaday brushed the inside wall trying to get on the inside of Tony Raines. They've really pulled out a pretty good lead on Jimmy Hensley, who's in 3rd place with his truck, and Jimmy's got a good cushion on the 4th place truck of Michael Dokken.
2nd to 3rd is 0.7 of a second. It is almost a 2nd and 3/4 now from Hensley back to 4th place Michael Dokken, but we're riding with the race leader. He is going way wide, Hornaday is. You see that much? He's like sliding it or skating off that corner.
It was all over Tony Raines a moment ago, and now Tony Raines has got a bit of a cushion, a couple truck lengths. But Hornaday really is running quite a bit different line than Tony Raines. He's actually keeping his truck freer than Tony Raines right now. Tony Raines is trying to protect his groove a little bit, trying to protect the lead, whereas Hornaday is just trying to get some momentum going to get a look on the inside of Tony Raines. Now he looks on the outside, which is going to be almost unheard of.
It's a finesse racetrack. You really have to dive low into the turns, then float to some degree like that to the outside guardrail on the straightaway, and momentum is the key there. If it can keep the momentum going and keep that Chevy power plant wound up, maybe it'll pay off.
It's pretty impressive that Ron Hornaday's even trying it on the outside right now. He's got an awfully good truck. I'm afraid if he can get the lead, he may say arrivederci.
I don't know if Mr. Hornaday would say arrivederci.
He may say goodbye.
Say, see you. Or out of my way. But early stages here at the Flemington Speedway, working lap number 16 of 200. Good side by side. This is for the lead. At the stripe, Hornaday had him by inches.
One thing about Ron Hornaday being on the outside, Tony Raines cannot use all of the racetrack that he wants to because Hornaday is there. So he's actually Tony Raines is having to alter his line because of Ron Hornaday being on the outside of him.
That time it was Raines who reassumes the lead. That was lap 17. That's got to really be something to. It's got to be nerve-wracking, and you know when you drive the channel lock machine, when you have a guy just filling up your rear view mirror like that, that's got to be, you want to look out the windshield, you got a mirror drive, it's got to be nerve-wracking.
Well, it really is. You know, if Tony Raines was running 5th or 6th right now, he may say, hey, Ron, go ahead. But he's leading the race, and you don't want to give up the lead. You don't want to lay down or roll over and give up the lead. So I'm sure that's why he's trying to keep him behind him as hard as he is. But I think he's just prolonging the inevitable right now.
19 laps on the board. There you see the numbers, and now he looks to the inside. At least that's where the truck wanted to go.
It looked like Tony Raines slipped a little bit, and when he did, Ron Hornaday jumped in that hole with his truck.
That time Hornaday had the lead. So laps 17 and 18 are Raines. Hornaday leads lap number 19. And they've been swapping it around with Hensley now closing in right there behind them. Early stages, 21 laps complete at Flemington. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Welcome back to Flemington, New Jersey, where Ron Hornaday is the race leader in truck number 16 over Tony Raines and Jimmy Hensley. The front dozen now having gone around Doug George's truck. Doug driving for the Andy Ginsman team here this weekend, and he goes a lap down in the early stages. But Hornaday and Raines swapping the lead around. Now we go a little bit further back. There's Dokken, Resendiz in the 35, and the 24, that's Jack Sprague. They all battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Dokken was ahead of Kenny Irvin, but he ran up on the lap truck of Doug George and was kind of seized up a little bit there, and Kenny Irvin jumped by on the inside of him.
There's Kenny Irvin, all smiles here this week, leading the Cintas Rookie of the Year standings for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and as well you likely know by now, he'll be the new driver for Robert Yates Racing next year, replacing Ernie Irvin. You ride with Dokken, and here comes Resendiz. That's a bid for 5th spot. MCI bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring across the top of the screen to keep you updated on how your favorite driver is doing. Remember that Resendiz finished 4th here a year ago, not for the same team. He's driving now for Charles Hardy. There he goes. If you like a racetrack, got to amount for something.
It was a pretty heads-up move by Michael Dokken. He knew Dave Resendiz was working him on the inside. Resendiz stuck his nose up there, and he moved over to let him go.
Side by side. And that's for 5th spot. Resendiz in the 35, Dokken the 18. You've got the green truck, that's Jack Sprague. 99 is the Chuck Bound machine, driving for Jack Roush. You've got Joe Ruttman, a corporate teammate, right behind in the LCI truck as well.
Michael Dokken's able to hang in there pretty well on the outside.
And if he can keep the momentum wound up, and if there is a place where you would have thought, ooh, he just about went around.
A little contact there from Chuck Bound.
The Dodge power plants may be down a tick on horsepower from some of the other makes. And that ought to play into their hands here this weekend, you'd think.
It really should, but I didn't talk to one other of the truck drivers that didn't do something to try to slow, basically kill some horsepower in their engine.
Lap number 34 on the board right now of 200. Just joining us, we have been caution-free. Our pole sitter, Terry Cook, he He's now running in 27th position. He has gone a lap down, so the repairs that they effected after he hit the wall during qualifying on lap number 2, repairs enough to get him out onto the racetrack, but not enough to keep him up to speed. He is already running a lap down. Tough break for Terry Cook, our pole sitter in the PBA Tour truck. Here goes Bound. That's for 6th.
Got a nice move off the corner. Got a little bit of momentum. Got inside of Dave Rezende's truck and was able to pull the pass off. Trying to bring his teammate Joe Ruttman with him.
Joe, the winner in Topeka in the 80. He comes along, and here comes Corelli to the inside of the 6. And really, in that respect, it's no different than a big track. If you get out of the groove, problems. That's the local favorite, John Blewett III. And now everybody locking up their brakes to try and avoid Ron Hornaday, the leader, as John Blewett III finds the wall between turns 3 and 4. He won earlier today in the modified race here at Flemington. It's not likely he'll win this one. We're under caution. Lap 37.
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Vans, the official vans of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
Back live at the Flemington Speedway, there you see the 05 truck. That is John Blewett, who is not particularly tickled to see himself in the garage early. Here's what happened, Phil.
I think they're going in turn 3 here. They looked like he was all by himself. I didn't see any other truck around him. He made just some pretty minor contact with the left front corner, but this is another view out of Mike Bliss's truck. Oh, there was contact right here. Mike Bliss got underneath him to lap him, and John, I don't think John knew he was there. Came down, and Mike was there, and they had a little bit of contact with the right front of Mike's truck and the left rear of John's truck, and there's the damage. Probably bent the toe, and looks like that's a brake line right there he's working on. Probably may have broken the brake line off the caliper, so he's going to have to do a little bit of work on that.
Meanwhile, he is also the number 2 man in the Northeast region of the NASCAR Winston Racing Series. So, Matt, the fact that he won earlier today will keep his weekly championship hopes alive, certainly.
Oh, certainly, Eli. He was hoping for a great run today. He hopes to maybe move up to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on a full time. You can see his dad, John Jr., working on the brake line that they cut in that little skirmish down in turn 3. They had to cut away part of the front bumper. That's just cosmetic, but the brake line is going to cost them a lot of time here on pit road.
So the crew finishing up their work as we are 1 lap away from going green. This will be a 6-lap caution period here at the Flemington Speedway. Ron Hornaday, the race leader. Tony Raines is 2nd. Jimmy Hensley 3rd. Kenny Irwin is 4th. We'll restart with Jack Sprague in 5th. Chuck Bound will go 6th. Ernie Irvin's corporate. You see some parts there still in the wall. We were just looking at. You hit the Armco barrier, it collects you.
It sure does, and I think they're not worried about getting that part out of the wall, because if you get up there, you're in trouble anyway.
I was about to say that the truck that Ernie Irvin owns with the Simos also moving up nicely. Boris said creeping towards the top 10 as the green flag is about to fly.
Got Terry Cook on the inside.
Green flag.
I tell you, Ron, we've talked about it almost every one of these Craftsman truck races. Ron Hornaday is so good on the starts and the restarts that he doesn't give guys much of a chance to get a lap back, like Terry Cook was on the inside with a possibility of doing that.
You see Raines going a bit wide. It allowed Hornaday in the 16 to pull free. Here comes Kenny Irwin in the 98 moving around the lap trucks. 44 laps complete of 200. Two-way conversation at the restart, monitoring in that instance Ron Hornaday's team.
That's the thing a leader wants to hear, or really anybody. Clear. That's the word he wants to hear. He was able to clear the lap truck of Terry Cook, and his spotters holding him clear. He knew then he could drive it back down to the inside and get in the groove.
Good scramble there for position. Raines and Hensley. Good side-by-side right there. You saw Jack Sprague briefly in that 24 truck. He works around one of the lap machines to try and get some clear sailing. There's Tony Raines from the American Speed Association. They don't quite have a Flemington track on their circuit, but he knows short track racing.
Well, he sure does. He was able to win, as you mentioned earlier this year at Odessa, Missouri. Been doing a great job. They struggled a little bit starting out, but they have really come around. They've got that win, and they've run really well in a lot of races.
And there's old Ron Hornaday. There's a scene we have seen much of this year. The number 16 truck, Matt, just continues to pace the field.
Eli, Ron Hornaday smells blood in the championship waters. If you go back to June at Bristol, he was 200-plus points out in the title chase. He's now closed that to just 104 points. He's got 6 wins on the season. This is his favorite truck, Melissa. 4 wins in 1997, 10 in his career, and they won this event back in 1995. He knows that he needs to gain as many points as possible here in the next few races that are still on some short tracks, because as soon as we get to the big tracks, Jack Sprague always has an advantage. So he wants to try to get as many here as possible. That's why he's jumping out front. He hopes to get his second win here at Flemington.
That truck, we heard the name Melissa, as Matt told you, winning this year in Tucson, Arizona, at Bristol, in Louisville, and a couple of 3 weeks ago in Denver, Colorado. But you're right, when you get past here and you start getting to the larger short track like in Nashville, then back to some of the bigger tracks, if Jack Sprague there in the 24 truck can hang on to the point lead, you're starting to come to an area where he is particularly dominant.
Well, he really is. But Eli, 100 points is trouble in one race. I mean, in one race, if something happened to Jack Sprague and he got a poor finishing position, that 100-point deficit will be eliminated immediately. So it's really up for grabs right now.
Jack Sprague, 3 top 10s and 3 top 5s in the 7 short track races already run this year.
Whoa, almost had a crash there in turn 2. Well, they got one going around turn 2 backstretch.
Matt Yoakum with the call as the number 38 of Pete Britton spins around on the back straightaway. You see some of the raw fuel there. That's what was igniting there at the header pipes.
Yeah, these engines are 9.5 to 1 compression ratio. They do not burn all the engine because of the low compression in the combustion chamber. A lot of it runs into the exhaust pipes, and that's what you see. A lot of times the trucks will backfire in the turns. That's what it is, a little bit of raw fuel collected in the exhaust pipes.
So caution on the speedway for the second time. Ron Hornaday's crew looks on content for the moment as he leads in Flemington. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by the more than 1,650 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And you thought there was hot air here in this booth. There is the classic hot air demonstration. Opryland USA, the official destination of NASCAR. Want more information? Call that number on the screen and get yourself online with all the information as well through country.com. Green flag is in the air as we go back racing. Everybody managing to continue. Pete Britton, who had that spin moments ago, back on the racetrack. There's Brian Reffner, the number 66 truck right now, who was our pole sitter here a year ago, trying to work himself up through traffic.
Jack Sprague was able to jump by Kenny Irwin to gain a spot on this restart.
There is Sprague. We take you back up front. Here's what happened on the back straightaway moments ago. Oh, I see there now Boris Said and Keselowski with the 29, and there's Britton.
A little bit of contact there. Boris Said did a heck of a job maintaining control of that truck. This is Ron Keselowski, but Bob Keselowski's truck there.
And he's Crawford.
All over the back of Rick Crawford, but fortunately both of those guys were able to maintain control.
Have we ever survived without replays in the old days? Up front, lap 60 going up on the board. Ron Hornaday took the lead most recently at lap number 19. 19, Tony Raines is second. 43, Jimmy Hensley third. Again, Ron Hornaday in the last 7 races has 5 wins. 6 top 10s in the last 7 races. That's awfully strong.
He has really been on a roll. I was at Bristol when he won one of those races, and he was real strong there and
led every lap that day.
Led every lap. And I've watched a lot of these on TV, and he's been strong week in, week out. He looked real good. One of the races he didn't win was Topeka, and it looked like he was going to win until he had an ignition problem or something like that.
on the Britain truck right there, as you see our friends at Napa bringing us the scoring and timing rundown from NASCAR. At Napa, we keep America running.
We got Mike Wallace in the 52 truck, Ken Schrader's truck, up to 6th position.
And this is the first time that Mike has been to the Flemington Speedway. He was taking all sorts of notes from a lot of people. Mike started middle of the field, an 18th spot, so he's moved up nicely.
The teammates Joe Rutman in the 80 truck and Chuck Bound in the 99 truck, they've swapped positions at some point in time because earlier Chuck was ahead of Joe.
Right, now you've got Rutman in the 8th spot, Chuck Bound in 9th. We ride with Mike Bliss now. He's in 11th. So Mike has come up nicely, looking back behind him to 12th place, that black number 3 truck for Jay Sauter. He's in 12th, and Rich Bickle still hanging on in 13th. They've got Randy Renfro here, if necessary, as an injury replacement for Rich Bickle, but Rich doesn't like getting out of trucks or cars or anything in his career. When he had to climb from that truck at Topeka, it was really devastating to him. And he said, I'm going to try and go all the way, even with the cracked ribs and the problem with the spleen and so on.
I'll be surprised if he gets out, Eli, because he looks real racy right now.
Plus, it might hurt more to get out. Might as well just stay there, wrapped up in the cocoon of that of the seat.
He told me earlier that it's really pretty comfortable. You know, as sore as he is, it's fairly comfortable in the truck because you turn here all the time. It shifts your weight over to the right side. The centrifugal force pushes you to the right. All his ribs are broken on the left side, so he said it really gets my ribs away from anything when I'm in the truck at speed.
This is for 10th place now. We're riding with Mike Bliss, looking towards the 35 of Dave Resendiz. That's for a top 10.
A good side-by-side battle for Mike. But Mike Bliss started 19th, so he's made a pretty good move up towards the front. Got a side-by-side battle for second between Tony Raines and Jimmy Hensley in a pair of Dodges.
Jimmy trying to power, as you see, to the outside in the 43. Float towards the outside retaining wall. That's what Ray Evernham told me, as a longtime track champion and track record holder here, Ray Evernham was. Float to the wall and keep your momentum up.
Jimmy's doing a good job of that right now, so maintaining on the outside of Tony Raines.
If you're a fan of John Blewett III, as we watch this battle go to Jimmy Hensley now. John Blewett has just parked his truck for the day after the accident that brought out the first caution at lap number 37. So the first retiree of the afternoon is Blewett.
See Rick Corelli in the 6th truck on the inside of Kenny Irwin in a 98. We know Rick Corelli has good Ron Hutter power, the same engine builder I have, but I'm not sure how much of it he needs here at this racetrack, but he was able to put a nice move on Kenny Irwin and get by. Mike Wallace has already gone by Kenny Irwin up to 5th position.
Irwin ahead of Joe Rutman, but there's the man who's showing the way. That is Ron Hornaday. We're coming right back to Flemington. Winnebago Industries is the official motorhome of TNN. Stop by your local Winnebago or Itasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on the Winnebago Motorsports team, please call 1-800-643-4892, extension 2. Today's telecast also brought to you by Featherlight Trailers, the official trailer of NASCAR, CART, IRL, and a major sponsor of the NHRA. Remember to call for all of your trailer needs at 1-800-800-1230 or 319-547-6000. Commercial transportation for this broadcast has been provided by Ryder, the official transportation company of Opryland. Welcome back to the Flemington Speedway, everybody. Eli Gold, Phil Parsons, Matt Yoakum on hand on this Saturday afternoon. Chuck Bound there, the number 99. That is the 10th spot right now. They're going around the 66 of Brian Refner, who made an unscheduled stop earlier for a flat tire and went a couple of laps down.
Mike Bliss has made a pretty good move up there. There goes Mike Irwin right there.
Still no pressure.
I think that was Eddie Thrapp, Mike Bliss's spotter up there in the spotter stand, telling Mike that he was running 70s. That's probably 1970s.
Indeed, right. The last lap was 19.79 seconds.
So he has no pressure because he's moving up through the field.
He's pushing off the corner, Fred. Little loose gets in if I wanted to drive it hard, but just push it off the corner like wedge, like on a camber in the right front or something.
Ron Hornaday talking to Fred Graves. And why not? When you've got yourself a lead of half a racetrack, you might as well talk. The exact lead right now for Ron Hornaday on second place is 3 1/10, 3 1/10 seconds, which is significant at a racetrack that you get around in 19 seconds.
Sure, you're talking about a sixth of a lap. So
now third place right there is a dandy battle. You've got Raines in the 19, Jack Sprague in the 24. This is behind Jimmy Hensley, who's in second.
Rick Corelli in the 6 truck, and also Mike Wallace in the 52 truck. And now Joe Ruttman has also caught that battle.
That is for third position. On back, third is the man we are riding with now, Tony Raines. He led the first 15 laps, then led laps 17 and 18 before yielding to Hornaday, who's gone since.
Jack Sprague's made a nice move on the outside. I believe he was able to clear him and get down in front of him.
There to the left rear of the Quaker State truck.
I think that happened earlier on one of the restarts. They get bunched up and the little chain reaction deal. Doesn't seem to be hurting Sprague's truck at all.
The remarkable thing is we are only 13 laps from halfway. This race has flown right by, and that's just fine for Ron Hornaday, a comfortable leader.
Race fans, you make the call. New LCI residential long-distance customers receive 30 minutes of free domestic calling and the World Kart Plus calling card featuring participating NASCAR drivers. Don't delay. Call now. 1-888-TEAM-LCI.
Hey, folks, you're invited to race on into the all-new and official store of NASCAR, NASCAR Thunder, now open in all of those cities you see listed. Or if you'd like more information, just visit us on the World Wide Web, country.com. NASCAR Thunder is the official store of NASCAR. Good racing all around this Flemington Speedway right now. Mike Bliss there, the number 2 truck. He is in 7th spot. Just ahead of him, Joe Ruttman. Just behind him, Tony Raines. There you see Sauter and Irwin and Beil still hanging in there as we near halfway, just 5 laps from the halfway break.
It's amazing. A lot of these trucks, like Tony Raines, for one, was running 4th when we went away to break. Came back and he's running about 8th. His truck, he's got about a 90-lap deal on his truck right now. He needs this second half. He needs to make some changes during the break so he can extend that to over 100 laps, because he really fell off here in the last half a dozen laps.
There is 10th place. You've got Beil and Kenny Irwin scrambling, and Irwin gets caught wide. Roper goes by in the 31. You know who you feel for here is Chuck Bound.
Really do. Chuck was the same way. Chuck was the same way as Tony Raines, and it looks like Kenny Irwin Jr. also. Their trucks, after about 85 to 90 laps, just fell off the page. Chuck Bound is now all the way back to 15th position.
Lap 97. Again, the halfway break coming up at lap 100. That's when the Gatorade Front Runner Award is handed out. Then at lap 101, caution is displayed for the 5-minute mid-race break. Good battle there. Sauter is in 9th. He wants 8th place. That Raines has.
You may wonder, Eli, why they're racing so hard just a few laps from halfway. Well, the problem is Jay Sauter doesn't want to be behind Tony Raines when they start the second half, because Tony Raines will have 4 new Goodyear tires, and he's going to be a lot harder to pass when he's got new tires than he is right now on old tires.
Coming up now towards one more lap towards halfway. The Gatorade Front Runner Award given out at halfway, and then one more lap thereafter before they go to the break. Here goes Beil. Rich, tender in the ribs. He is running 10th, though. He should get the Superman Award here today. The way he was moving like a 90-year-old man in the garage area earlier today, folks.
I was watching some of the medics work on him prior to, and he was really in a lot of pain.
Halfway, you've got Ron Hornaday, the leader at halfway. He takes home the Gatorade Front Runner Award. Caution is on the speedway now, and we have reached the halfway point of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 with Ron Hornaday, the number 16 Napa truck, showing the way. Just another day at the office. Now it's time for Fred Graves and the boys to even try and improve some more. The half Halfway break is upon us here at the Flemington Speedway in New Jersey as Ron Hornaday shows the way. Jimmy Hensley's truck right there, the number 43 with the King looking on. There's Richard Petty, who's come over from Watkins Glen, where the Bud at the Glen is being run tomorrow for the NASCAR Winston Cup teams. He is here looking on with Jack Sprague in third, Mike Wallace now in fourth, and Rick Corelli running in fifth. Little track cleanup going on. The styrofoam that we talked about in our pre-race section of the show got beaten up just a tad. 3 retirees, John Blewett, Brian Cunningham, and Pete Britton are in the garage, and that's where Matt Yoakum is right now as well.
Eli, if there is a guy who's giving yeoman duty today, it's got to be Rich Bickle. Rich, first off, how are you feeling with the injuries?
Oh, you know, it's like anything else. Once you get doing something, you don't think about it. We're a little bit sore, but the biggest thing right now is we come up the 10th there. We're running pretty good. Got a little loose there towards the last 30 laps, so try to make adjustment, get this thing right, and, you know, we still want to get top 5 out of this deal.
Well, they're hunting for a top 5 a little farther up the road here. Let's check up with the leader, Ron Hornaday. He's going 4 tires. His truck was a little bit loose. They're going to tighten him up. But first off, Ron, you put another fire heat boot there on your left foot. Are you burning your left foot?
If that's the only problem this Napa Chevrolet's got, I'll take it. I'll take both burnt feet. But Fred Graves and the guys, I didn't think we were going to be that good. And this truck just started turning better and better. And it was awesome. I can't believe it.
Well, Melissa's treating you guys well. 4 wins this year so far. Looks like number 5 is looking pretty good so far. 100 laps to go.
We don't count our chickens before they hatch. But I'll tell you what, we wanted to sell this truck. We ain't selling her now. Dale, she's a good old truck. I don't know what to say, but Action Collectible has been with us since we started. Burger King came aboard. Goodyear came out with a great tire. I'm going to keep plugging all these guys because I'm only the pilot of this rocket ship. These guys get this truck going, and this Napa Chevrolet's been awesome. I don't know, I'll tell you what, it's been a real high for us right now. We're going to ride this roller coaster all we can get. They're going to make some changes on their truck. They might be a little better. We're going to take some tire pressure out. That's all we're going to do to this Napa Brake Chevrolet.
Well, coming up here, all they did was knock the dents out. As far as the motor goes, they changed the valve springs. That was it. This is the same motor they race with at IRP. Eli?
Ron Hornaday, one of only 4 drivers to have completed every single lap that they have run here at this track over the years. He, Rick Corelli, Mike Bliss, and Jack Sprague are the others to have done so. And again, this is an unusual racetrack, but Hornaday's run his share of short tracks up and down the West Coast and all growing up out there in Palmdale, and we shouldn't be surprised.
No, we really aren't. Ron Hornaday always ran well on the short tracks, especially when this truck series started. So it's not surprising at all. You know, we saw them cleaning up some of the styrofoam that was broken up in some of the accidents. Yeah. That's as good an insulator as they is. So Ron needs to go get some of that styrofoam off of the wall and put it on his floor of his car.
You know, you hear about some guys doing that. There you see the big blocks of styrofoam in the corner. You know who else is having a good run, Matt, is Mike Wallace. We talked about him earlier being here for the very first time, and he's got Schrader's truck up near the top 5, in the top 5.
He started 17th, now into the top 5. Mike, you said this place is a rhythm track. It seems like you've picked it up pretty fast.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Pure Later Pure One team has done a great job. You know, we struggled. I screwed up qualifying, got us behind. The truck's turning real good on the bottom. We're trying to tighten it up a little bit getting off. But, you know, Kenny Schrader, I'm sure you're watching. The truck's running great. Hopefully we can bring a good finish home here. And all the folks from Pure Later, my family and everybody at home, I'm just happy. You know, we're having a good day, and it feels good to run up front. And guys are doing a great job.
He's got a big smile on his face. It would be even bigger if they take a win home today. He is so hungry for a win. He says he can't stand it. He says this truck team is really coming together with he and the Kenny Schrader bunch.
Well, he's doing awfully well, and Mike very relaxed today. He was just happy to be here, happy to be running well. That's the best that a racer can ask for. We're coming right back for the restart in a moment.
Right at the line. Hornaday was side by
Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. And by the original Vent Visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a look at exactly how your favorite is running. And there's Jack Sprague, just quietly the point leader, Phil, doing what he has to do.
He sure is. He's really running well. He moved up a little bit from his 7th place starting position up to 3rd, and actually had caught Jimmy Hensley prior to the break.
Indeed. The next group, as we take a look at how your favorites are running, there's Roper. Butch Miller up from a provisional starting spot. Look how far he's come to the front.
You always look for Butch Miller on a short track like this to move towards the front. May not qualify all that well, but always runs well in a race, it seems like.
Forrest said right where he started. That's where he is halfway through in the 20th spot. Our Busch pole sitter, Jerry Cook, had the problems, had to repair the truck. He's now in 21st. The final three names there: Brian Cunningham, Pete Britton, John Blewett III, already retired for the day. We had promised earlier we would talk a little bit more about that truck right there, Tammy Jo Kirk and the number 7. Normally there has been a sponsor on board, but the sponsor filed for bankruptcy earlier this week, and as a result, Tammy Jo Kirk has no sponsor here this weekend in Flemington. Next weekend in Nashville, she's hoping to be able to put together a sponsorship agreement with somebody from the country music industry for a one-race-only basis. But, Phil, beyond that, she said, we've got no money to go forward.
It's so tough, Eli. I'm so fortunate with my backing from Channel Lock, my associates, Bolt Fresh and Honeywell, that, you know, you cannot do it. It takes so much money to do this that you cannot do it without adequate sponsorship. Tammy Jo, I think, has done a great job this year, but Jeff Bodine cannot continue to run her without some funding.
And we need to stress that this has nothing to do with Jeff Bodine's problems that he had to keep finances going through his organization. This truck was doing all right, but then the sponsor filed bankruptcy, as we said, so that has nothing to do with any of the financial pressures that Jeff Bodine has been under here over the last number of weeks. This race again being sponsored by Stephen Beil and his automotive empire here in New Jersey. Matt Yoakum spoke with him earlier today.
Well, for the third straight year, great support here regionally by Stephen Beil here at the Flemington Speedway. This event just keeps getting bigger and better every year.
Yeah, this is the third year we're having it, and we'll probably do it again next year. A lot of our customers are here, and it's going over well.
How big is this for your stores here locally? I mean, to have all the fans come here and see all the support you put on?
We get a lot of General Motors car dealers, jobbers from the New York, Philadelphia, North Jersey area, and it'll be even bigger next year.
Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Great support regionally by Stephen Beil is what makes the Truck Series so special here at Flemington.
Little work being done on the racetrack. That is going into turn number 1. There was some debris and some fluid that was spotted by the eagle-eyed NASCAR officials, and it brought Bubba Dean Blau and camera in hand to the scene, so you can see it at home. And that's what they're just working through there, that little bit of speedy dry that they put down to make sure the track is in totally raceable condition. If you're just joining us, we had only 2 very brief cautions during the actual running of the event. John Blewett and Pete Britton bringing out their cautions, and the one at halftime. Now we're back to racing. Through that speedy dry they go, kicking up that little cloud you see. And we watch everybody try to scramble, including Tony Raines there in that number 19 truck of his from 9th spot.
Tony Raines was really good on the start of the race, so he should be good right now. We'll have to see if they made enough changes to make his truck better at the end of this race.
Riding with Tony now. Again, he's in 9th. That's Jay Sauter just ahead of him in 8th in the good wrench colors. And a couple of lap trucks are next. 66 Brian Refner and 88 Terry Cook, our Busch pole sitter. They are the lap machines before you get back to Rich Bickle in the number 17 truck. Now you see Jimmy Hensley being bypassed there by Jack Sprague. So give Sprague 3rd, Hensley now back to 4th, then the lap truck of Harvick before you get to the number 6 of Rick Corelli.
You know, we talked right before the break how important it was for those guys to pass somebody if they could.
Exactly.
Rich Bickle was trying to get by Tony Raines, was not able to do that. Now he finds himself with 3 lap trucks in between he and Tony Raines.
Mike Bliss in the number 2. He's running in 6th, and we're riding with Mike just behind the Remax Chevy truck. That's Rick Corelli just ahead of him.
You know, Eli, while we were watching this battle back in the pack, Mike Wallace has moved all the way up to 2nd position.
Well, Mike Wallace on the move. Corelli, who started in 15th, we saw there running in 5th. There's the Purelator Pure One truck for Mike Wallace.
We saw Jack Sprague pass Jimmy Hensley, but we forgot about Mike Wallace.
Well, let's see what Mike can do right here. The number 18 truck, 3rd in line, is actually now a couple of laps down. That's Michael Dockett. The 3rd place truck on the scoreboard is the green number 24 for Jack Sprague. Mike Wallace. He was talking to everybody. Anybody who would talk to him about how do you run this place.
I think he listened well.
I think
some
so.
good ones. He's doing a great job out there at Kenny Schrader's Pier 1 truck.
Are guys pretty straight with you when you say, hey, I've never been to such and such a track? They give you the straight scoop?
I think so. I've been in that position a number of times, you know, whether it be the Winston Cup Series or the Busch Series. And, you know, race car drivers don't want to see you have any trouble. They want to beat you on the up and up and beat you square. I mean, when people come up to us at a Busch race, you know, they ask me, you know, get me close. What kind of gear should I run? What kind of spring should I run? And I tell them because I don't want them to get in any trouble. It's our job to beat them on the racetrack.
And if they get in trouble, they might just collect the channel lock machine in the process.
That happens on occasion.
Yeah. We're riding with the race leader, Ron Hornaday. He took the lead at lap 19. We are now at lap 110. The first 18, 19 laps, it was, you know, anybody grab the lead and run with it. Since then, once Hornaday got in the clear, no one's touched him.
Mike Wallace is able to hang with him as probably as well as anybody has all day. So we'll have to see what happens when we get a few more laps on the tires, when they get some heat in them, and we'll see what happens.
That's a good fourth place battle you're watching. Jimmy Hensley in the 43, Rick Corelli in the 6, and there goes Corelli. Again, it's the inside groove versus the momentum groove as we watch it from Mike Bliss's truck. This time it's the inside groove that pays off for Corelli, and now Bliss, you see, that's quick. He covers the spot right there.
I'm not sure what changes Jimmy Hensley made during the halftime break, but he is not near as good as he was prior to this. So we may need to send Matt down there to get with Jimmy Hensley's crew to see what kind of changes they made and what it did to their truck.
Here comes Tony Raines now. He's up to 8th spot in the 19 truck. Jimmy Hensley gets in behind him in 10th. Got a feel for Jimmy Hensley after last week at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Folks, if you didn't see the race, he led all night. And on the final restart, with the race going beyond its advertised distance because he don't enter under caution, he lost to Ron Hornaday on that final race to the checkers. And Jimmy Hensley said to me yesterday, he said, you know, Eli, I said, I've lost a lot of races before, but that might have been the toughest loss I've ever endured.
Yeah, I was at RP, but we were watching it in the motorhome, and I couldn't believe it. But now I also heard that Jimmy had a
flat tire. He sure did.
So I mean that, you know, I couldn't understand.
Why do you give him why do you give anybody the outside groove in Indianapolis? And Jimmy said I had no choice. The tire was going flat.
Yeah, I really feel for Jimmy. He's a great competitor and
trouble. Hanging on and going ahead is Mark Gibson as a 65 truck moves on.
No caution flag.
And no contact out there in the corner either. And here comes the leader, Hornaday, to put a lap on Gibson. He was already in 21st position, a couple of laps down. That'll put him 3 laps down right there as Hornaday goes by and Wallace now goes by as well.
Michael Dock in a lap truck in between Mike Wallace and Jack Sprague, the second, third place trucks. So, you know, obviously Michael Dock had made some changes on his truck. He was lapped twice in the first half, but now he's able to hang right in there with Mike Wallace, who's running second.
The man we're riding with is in 22nd spot, but as Phil tells you, a couple of laps down. But the battle up front you see is a good one. Hornaday and Wallace trying to pull away from the field. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 is brought to you by the more than 1,650 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Hey folks, hope you can join us next Saturday night right here on TNN. These same NASCAR Craftsman trucks will be in action, beating and banging at the 5/8 mile Nashville Speedway, USA. The Federated Auto Parts 250 is next Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern. That is 6 o'clock in Nashville. And it's right here on the leader, TNN Motorsports. Looking forward to that one. There's Jimmy Hensley. We talked about the changes he made at halftime, Matt Yoakum. That truck is now backslid to 9th spot. What are they saying?
I talked to Freddie Fryer. No major problems with Jimmy Hensley. When the race started, he was a little bit tight, and then the truck progressively got loose as the run carried on. At the halftime break, they made the truck a little bit tighter, so as the second run carried on, the truck would get a little bit loose and come back to him as we got near the end of this race. As far as Kenny Irwin goes, on a restart on lap 61, he got into the wall. It bent up a bunch of the suspension pieces. They spent the whole halftime break trying to repair it. They couldn't get him back out in time. He went a couple of laps down. And as far as Jack Sprague goes, his truck was a little bit loose. They adjusted with air pressure during the halftime, but he also has a little bit of aero problems on the right front, a little bit of damage to the bumper. So as far as they know right now, Sprague is still pretty good.
Took Jack a while to get around some of the lap machines. He finally did get around Michael Dockin. You see how your favorites are doing. MCI presenting NASCAR timing and scoring across the top of the screen for you here in Flemington, New Jersey today with Phil Parsons and Matt Yoakum. I'm Eli Gold. Glad you're with us here or wherever you're tuned in across the country. Hope you're having a good weekend. Tomorrow, NASCAR Winston Cup racing up in Watkins Glen, New York. But old Todd Bodine went to the Bush Bowl there.
That's incredible.
Great story.
Really proud of those guys. Clyde, big guy, and all the guys. John, you know, that's home for about 90% of that team, the owners and Todd. So great weekend for them.
Does anybody know Big Guy's real name? Or does
Steve? It's Steve.
But he's a birth certificate right there, Big Guy.
But he is a big guy. There's no doubt about that.
We're watching Joe Ruttman in the 80 truck. Just ahead of him, we're riding with Mike Bliss now, who is 5th, and Joe is in 6th there in the LCI Ford.
Good battle here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. We got Tony Raines right behind Joe Ruttman in the Pennzoil truck.
I just love the different grooves, the different approaches everybody's been taking here today.
This is a very difficult racetrack to drive, and for the most part, these guys have really done a super job keeping these trucks straight and out of the walls.
Tony Raines is 7th. We're riding with him. New pavement here at the Flemington Speedway. You can see the older pavement to the inside there, the lighter gray, and to the outside. And they said a very good. I said, why didn't you just do part of the racetrack? Well, the guy gets into that gray stuff all the way out there. New pavement's not going to help him anyway.
It sure is, and I tell you, it's really expensive to repave a racetrack. So they saved an incredible amount of money by doing what they did, and I think it was very, very wise to do it that way.
Very smart. Let's see if Ruttman can force the issue there. He's in the 80 truck, the LCI, inside of Bliss. That's for 5th.
Fortunately, Mike knew he was there. I'm sure Eddie Thrapp up on top said, hey, he's on the inside. Mike gave him a little bit of room and was able to avoid contact.
Now Raines.
A little contact from Jay Sauter there in a 3 truck. He did a heck of a job saving the thing, but really Jay Sauter was able to get by.
So Jay is in 7th now, and Raines moves back to 8th. You see Bickle right behind him in 9th. And 10th is now where Jimmy Hensley is, the 43 truck. The 11th spot now is Butch Miller. There's Sauter in the 7th position, number 3.
We need to keep this front bumper shot on Tony Raines because I'm sure he didn't appreciate Jay Sauter giving that little nudge. So we may get a little work out of that front bumper camera.
We're at lap number 139 of 200. Swapping around 2nd spot now. You've got Jack Sprague right there, having taken over 2nd place from Mike Wallace. So Sprague is on the move. And Jack said yesterday, we were talking at his truck, he said, if I can just get through Flemington and get through Nashville, he said, I really think I can tuck a championship away, because after you go to that track next Saturday evening here on TNN, you then go to a road course where Jack will run well. Then you start going to the intermediate road, short tracks, the Richmond 3/4 mile, Martinsville, then back to a road course, and the bigger tracks again, Fontana, California, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and of course Bakersfield, California, short track. But if he can at least hold his own on the short tracks, Jack feels he might be able to tuck a title away.
He's doing a whole lot more than than that right now. He's up to second place. He appears to be the only truck right now that can possibly catch Ron Hornaday.
Of course, Sprague likes this track too. His first race with Hendrick Motorsports was here in 1995 after the team he was racing with at the time ran out of funds. We're coming right back. It is your source for all things country. Country.com. From race cars to country music superstars. www.country.com, your personal source for all things country. We are under caution. Some debris came off a couple of trucks in turn number 4 as they banged together up there. And you see the safety and cleanup truck out there to the right side of Boris Said. And he is coming down the pit lane. So Boris Said will make a pit stop here at lap number 146. It's a chance for us to take a look at this week's Dodge Innovation in Motion. Matt Yoakum explains how NASA has helped drivers deal with the heat inside their trucks.
In a never-ending war on heat, with the help of NASA's Space Shuttle program, a lot of products have come on the market in the past year to help aid in driver comfort during a race. This heat-reflective material for the heel helps keep drivers' heels from blistering during a race. Also, the same material is bolted to the door bars to help keep the cockpit cool. Underneath the driver's seat, another product developed by NASA is on the floorboard to help keep the heat from the tailpipes from entering the cockpit. Another product has come on the market, a carbon monoxide protector. Hot air goes in, it funnels through a filter, it comes out cool, fresh air. A hose takes it then to the driver's helmet to help keep him cool during the race. And then this week, the latest product to come on the market, a seat insert. With a Kevlar backing, reflective heat front, helps keep the driver's seat cool. A driver who's cool and alert at the end of the race is always on charge to take the win.
Always something new every week, Phil Parsons, it seems like.
Well, it sure is, and I'll tell you, Matt did a good job with that. That is really a problem, or can be a problem in these cars and trucks, because we have to keep cool. We ran a race in St. Louis the other day. It was so hot that we ripped the racetrack to shreds, but my guys did a good enough job in the race car that I was able to stay cool in spite of temperatures probably inside the race car of 120, 125 degrees.
Boris Said, as you can clearly see, said, let's check the left side of the truck. Something doesn't feel quite right. Remember, you can't change tires here just because you want to. In this series, unless a tire is totally flat and on the rim, and NASCAR agrees, if you change a tire, it's a 5-lap penalty. So you have to come in, and you can adjust tire pressure and all that kind of stuff, certainly, but you really can't just go ahead and change tires. Why don't we check out the point standings for you? Brought to you by the original vent visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. That's how the numbers stack up going into this event, the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200. Pretty tight, really.
Start coming up now.
It really is, and all 10 of those trucks are very, very close to the top 10.
Wrapping up our 4th caution of the afternoon, our 15th lap of caution, and that is way, way down. Normally at this point we have had 10 cautions. Looking back at the numbers over the last 3 years, at this point in the day we would have already had 10 cautions for 42 laps, and right now we are working our 4th caution for what will I guess be eventually 17 laps once they go back to green.
See what kind of jump Ron Hornaday can get on this restart.
Clear, green flag.
You heard him say clear before green flag.
Yeah. That's the kind of restarts Hornaday gets.
Exactly. Now Jack Sprague needs to get by Michael Dockett and get in line behind Ron Hornaday and see if he can do anything with him.
Yeah. Did it that time. Lap number 150. We're coming here to lap 151, so 49 laps remain. Wallace there in the 52 truck would like to get around Dockett as well. Dockett in the 18 lost a couple of laps early. He's now running in 20th spot, a couple of laps down still.
I'll tell you, right now Michael Dockett has a good truck. But if I was Michael Mike Wallace has now got to the inside of him, and hopefully will be able to dispatch him and go on and join that fight for first and second. But if I'm behind Michael Dockett, I know he's 2 laps down. Even though he's running good, I'm going to be screaming at my crew chief, please tell NASCAR to tell him to move over and let me race for the win. But Michael Dockett's out there trying to show people that he can run with these guys, and he can run with these guys. But he has to, and right now he's doing that. He's moved to the outside, letting these lead trucks go by to fend for the race.
You see 6 Corelli going by, 80 Joe Rutman going by. And yes, that is, if you're just tuning in, that is Michael Dockett back in the Dana Dodge. They are alternating a number of different drivers, though Dockett was the incumbent at the beginning of this year. They are alternating these drivers to try and see exactly who will be behind the wheel come next season. And this weekend it is Michael Dockett back behind the number 18. Napa field standing update across the top of the screen for you. And the Napa truck continues to pace the way here in Flemington.
See Joe Rutman all over Rick Corelli's truck trying to get by. He was able to get by Mike Bliss in the ultra wheel truck prior to the last caution flag, but now he's all over Rick Corelli.
Rutman and Corelli. That's 4th and 5th. It's just 2 truck lanes from 1st to 2nd. We'll keep an eye on that while you watch this good battle right here.
Joe's got on the inside of Rick Corelli. He should be able to make the pass.
Got him. So Joe Rutman now moves up into 4th. Corelli is in 5th in the Remax Chevy.
It's hard to tell who may be as strong as Ron Hornaday, because people like Joe Rutman, who started way back in 14th position, he's never been with a chance to run in clear racetrack. Right now he's all the way up to 4th. He's only got 43 laps to go, so he needs to make a move pretty quick.
Hornaday has led the last 135 laps, so exactly as you say, once he gets himself clear, he's gone. That's 2nd place on your screen there. Sprague, Wallace, Rutman, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Was able to get by Mike Wallace earlier on, about 20 or 30 laps to go, but now it looks like Mike Wallace may have a better truck than Jack Sprague. Jack may have abused his tires trying to catch Ron Hornaday, and he needs to back off, let his tires cool a little bit, try to keep Mike Wallace behind him, and then mount another charge here as we go to keep Mike Wallace behind him. From Mike Wallace. I don't know if there was any contact from Joe Rutman. Joe Rutman has moved to the inside of Mike Wallace. May have been a little nudge from Joe saying, hey, I'm here. I've run you down. Let me go and see if I can do something with these guys.
And you know, Matt, I think one of the best stories beside all of this is that should Sprague somehow get by Hornaday for the win, I understand there's going to be a lot of haircut going on in the pit area today.
Eli, Jack Sprague has competed in 35 short track events, but he's never won. He's finished 2nd 5 times. Earlier this season, he and his crew chief, Dennis Conner, made a bet. If we win, Conner and the crew shave their heads. Right in Dennis Conner's briefcase, he's got the razor, he's got the Edge gel. He says if they win today, they're going to shave their head. A bunch of Kojaks down here. No wonder Jack Sprague is really giving it a heck of a run out there.
It'll be interesting to see how that will stick around for the shaving ceremony. Should it happen to that man, Dennis Conner. We're coming right back to Flemington in a moment. All right, Matthew. Coming up Friday on TNN Motorsports, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws take the greatest show on dirt to Knoxville, Iowa. The start of the biggest weekend in sprint car racing. Check out the Knoxville Shootout Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on TNN Motorsports. The lead is still Ron Hornaday. Good battle now, though, for Bliss, the number 2 truck, in 6th. And Rich Bickle, who goes by him there, was in 7th. So they swapped those spots around. And Rich Bickle, ailing ribs and all, now climbing even closer to the top 5. While we have a chance, let's take a look at this week's AutoZone Tech Fact. Here's Mike Bliss's crew chief, Barry Dodson, with some interesting information about wheels.
This is Ultra's first year in racing with their own race wheel. After watching a few events in Winston Cup and the Craftsman Truck Series, we came up with a better idea. Let me show you what it is. Most of the valve stems on the other wheels are mounted out here. Not the Ultra, we mounted it inside the window so it can't get knocked off. I've seen this happen in races, in the Truck Series, and in the Cup Series, like I say. If you knock this baby off in this wheel, you're going to need more than a new tire.
And we thank Barry Dodson for today's Tech Fact. That is the battle for second spot with just 25 laps to go. Just 25 laps to go. Sprague and Ruttman. Hendrick Motorsports against Jack Roush Racing. Kenny Schrader's truck right behind, waiting and watching to see what happens with Mike Wallace at the wheel. Good battle for second. Give it to Joe Ruttman.
These guys have made contact in races past, but I tell you, Jack Sprague is smart. He's got the point lead. He said, hey, second and third, there's not a whole lot of difference there. It doesn't look like I can catch Ron Hornaday. So why not let Ruttman go by? He's obviously faster than me right now. Let me just take my third and go on home.
I don't think the space shuttle can catch Ron Hornaday today. There's Wallace, followed by Corelli and Bickle. Corelli is in fifth in truck number 6, and there goes Bickle. Got him. Inside move.
I'll tell you, Rich looks really good right now. He dispatched of Mike Bliss a few laps ago. Was a pretty good ways back.
Kenny Irwin with problems in turn number 1.
Was able to save it and keep on going, so there'll be no caution flag.
There's Kenny Irwin right there. No yellow. See that bad tire up.
That was, he actually got against the inside wall over here in turn 1, right in front of our position.
Okay, be ready to change the left front tire. Got a bad rub.
Hear the communication for the Ray Bestis team. They say there have been like 80 applicants for that ride for next year, with Kenny moving on to
I don't think the tire is flat yet, so they probably will not let you change it. Just pull the fender away from it.
Here he comes for service at lap 180. Unscheduled stop.
He was up in the top 10, so this is really going to hurt Kenny Irwin. He was a 9th actually before that little problem there.
Matt Yoakum is there watching.
25 miles per hour. Kenny Irwin brings the 98 truck to a stop. They're going to look at the left front. They're going to try to pull the fender out because NASCAR will not allow you to change a tire unless it is flat. So they are pulling the bodywork away to see if they can get the bodywork away so the tire does not rub in smoke. As you can see, the guys going to work. They're pulling out that left front fender. They've got what they call a Roush bar, a Roush roller, which they will roll around the wheel to kind of crease the wheel while opening out. Going to do a little bit of duct tape work, but still Kenny Irwin losing a lot of time here on pit road.
Meanwhile, caution is on the speedway now. That's Mark Gibson. Mark Gibson looks as though the hood just comes a-flying off. And caution is on the speedway at lap number 184, just 16 laps from the finish.
He's got some other damage. You can see the right front of the truck was pushed over, so he's got into something. He's got some water squirting out of the radiator.
Got Old Faithful there.
Yeah. So it's probably the end of his day, unfortunately.
Mark Gibson with problems. Let's take a look at what happened and bring you back up to speed. Watch the 65 truck.
Just got a little bit loose. Oh, it ran into.
Oh, in front, got both Sprague and Bickle.
Sprague and Bickle. That's incredible. We'll have to see how much damage that those two guys have.
Sprague was third, Bickle was fourth, and we'll have to take a good look now. There's Gibson. Well, Sprague, you see, look at the back there, the right rear.
I think he's going to be okay. I'm not even sure that tire will rub. But Rich Bickle now hit Mark Gibson with the front of his truck, but not a great deal of damage there either. So I think probably both of those guys are going to be okay. The only thing I would worry about is whether Jack Sprague's right rear tire will rub on the sheet metal.
Let's take a look again, Phil, and see if we can determine and get another look at Bickle's truck. Watch it again.
Looked like Mark he was a little bit wide. Looked like he just jumped on the throttle, got the thing sideways. He caught Jack Sprague in the right side, and then Rich Bickle was
right
not able to avoid him, right on top of him, and just pushed him around. But he did hit him real hard. It was a little bit of a glancing blow, so hopefully he won't have any damage, because Rich Bickle was certainly on the move.
There you see a little sheet metal there on the Michael Dockin truck.
Looks like that's actually part of the decal. That may have pulled up there. That's what it looks like.
It's green. It looks like it's part of Sprague's
truck. Is. Huh.
You see that when it comes flipping back, you can just see a little green on it. Let's go to Matt Yoakum on pit road.
Dennis Conner is Sprague's crew chief. Dennis, if you had a chance to eyeball it, is there going to be any major damage to Jack's truck?
Spotter's outside the racetrack on the back stretch, and he says that the right side's tore up, but nothing that really means anything. It didn't hit any tires or anything like that, so as long as nothing rubs when we get started back, everything ought to be kind of okay.
Aero-wise, is it going to upset the handling of the truck?
Oh, anything you do to these trucks upsets it, so yeah, but we'll have to do the best we can.
Bad break for these guys. They're hoping that first short track win would come today.
Field getting the 1-to-go signal. Chance for us to remind you about Hardcore 4x4. That is the TNN Motorsports new real-life action, if you ask me, for the Sony PlayStations and the Sega Saturn system. It's kind of like being a racer right there in your own home. Hardcore 4x4. Check it out. TNN Motorsports, Sony PlayStation, the Sega Saturn system. It's in stores now. Get TNN information on the website if you'd like as well. At country.com. You get all the information about Hardcore 4x4. 14 laps to go, Phil.
We have to see what happens now. Joe Ruttman's in second. He was able to come on up from his relatively poor starting position of 14th, and I still don't think anyone has anything for Ron Hornaday. He's so good on the restarts. He gets enough of a cushion on the restart that it's hard for anybody to mount a charge. Rich Bickle appeared to be maybe the fastest truck prior to the caution flag, but he, we don't know how much damage he may have from that little incident.
Look, whatever damage was made, what contact was made, was right on the nose of the Bickle truck. Now let's see what happens here. Restart. It'll be 13 laps to go when they go green.
Clear all around. Green flag.
Again, clear all around, then the green flag.
And you've got Joe Ruttman side by side with a lap truck of our pole sitter, Terry Cook. So, by the time Ruttman clears Terry Cook, he's 6 car lengths behind Jack Sprague, behind Ron Hornaday.
Sprague gets around as well, cleanly in third now around Cook. Bickle gets by cleanly in fourth around the lap truck. You've got Corelli right behind him. Then Jay Sauter next in line. That's 7th. Bliss is 8th. You've got 9th spot going to Butch Miller. And 10th now is Dave Resendiz. Looks like someone took a can opener to the right side of the Quaker State truck.
Rich Bickle trying to mount a charge on the inside of Jack Sprague. This certainly has some serious point ramifications. Sure. There's only a 10-point spread right now between Jack Sprague and Rich Bickle. If Rich can get in front of Jack Sprague, if he finishes one position in front of him, he will gain 5 points and only be 5 points behind.
Good scramble for third and fourth. The leader is Hornaday. Second is Ruttman. Those two trucks are third and fourth.
Good race right here between Rich Bickle and Jack Sprague. These two trucks, while we're watching this battle, Joe Ruttman has actually run down Ron Hornaday.
Right, they are basically nose to tail at Ruttman now, really closing in on Hornaday while we watch this great battle as well for third and fourth spot. Matt Yoakum.
Eli, Rich Bickle's eyeing a lot of points he can pick up today, and if he does, he'll owe a lot to Don Andrews from the Winston Cup Wives Auxiliary Human Resource Truck, which is basically a sports medicine truck. Don Andrews flew down on a plane to help Bickle out this morning. He put on a little electric shock stimulator and also wrapped him up around his rib. He did not use any kind of protection as far as rib padding. So if he picks up a lot of points today, he'll owe it to those guys. Those guys also helped Terry Labonte when he broke his wrist, and also they helped out Jeff Burton when he injured himself earlier this year.
That's the story on the medical front. On the racetrack, there you see it, first and second. Third spot is Bickle. You see him just pivoting into your picture. It'll be 5 laps to go next time by to the start-finish line.
I would say that Ron Hornaday is going to make that Napa truck pretty wide here for these last 5 or 6 laps.
Let's see if Ruttman has saved anything.
We saw Ron Hornaday pass for the lead on the outside. Can Joe Ruttman do it? Now
remember, should something happen to these two trucks, you've got Bickle in third with a comfortable margin now on 4th place Sprague.
It's a shame we're going to run out of time because Rich Bickle may have the fastest truck on the racetrack.
Let's see what happens. 4 laps to go now.
See Ron Hornaday running a real tight line right now. He's not going to give up the inside of the racetrack. If Joe Ruttman's going to pass him, he's going to have to do it on the outside. But in the meantime, we've got Rich Bickle only about 3 car lengths behind, 3 truck lengths behind.
Saw a little smoke coming out of the Rich Bickle truck there as the crew looks to try and coax their driver to victory lane. Remaining.
It's pretty incredible after nobody really being able to run with Ron Hornaday. There's a good battle for, I believe, fifth position right there. That's 5th and 6th.
Right.
Rick Corelli getting by Mike Wallace and trying to bring Jay Sauter with him.
Ron Hornaday up front with 2nd and 3rd right behind him, and Bickle may grab 2nd from Ruttman.
White flag. Turn 3.
There's Lindy looking on.
Got trouble with the truck in the wall. Turn 3.
Dave Resendiz spins in turn 3.
No caution
comes
flag.
Hornaday, and Hornaday will become the all-time winner in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history. His 17th career win. He gets the victory. 2nd will go to Ruttman. Bickle is 3rd. Sprague is 4th. Corelli is 5th. What a job for Fred Graves and the bunch there, Matt.
7 wins for 1997. Fred Graves, 6 wins since joining the team. A great run for these guys.
A great run. Well, Ryan, it was Ryan again today, just like last week. He's an awesome driver, and I just can't say enough about him.
Boy, Fred, talk about that. You guys really dominated today, just like Ron did back in 1995.
Well, Goodyear gave us a good tire today, but I think it was the limiting factor in the way the trucks could turn, and it made a real even race out of it. It looked like we dominated, but the other guys were just saving it for the end.
Fred Graves, great crew chief, helping Ron Hornaday score win number 17 of his career as the all-time NASCAR Craftsman truck win leader.
And the folks at Plastic Coat, the official spray paint of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award. And the award again this week going to Fred Graves. He receives $1,000 as the winning crew chief in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event. A season-ending award of $10,000 will go to the crew chief with the best average finish. All of that from Plastic Coat. Victory Lane next. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Well, he's got the cell phone. I wonder if that's Dale Earnhardt on the other end of the line in Watkins Glen, New York. Come on out of the truck, Ron Hornaday. Matt Yoakum.
Ron Hornaday's 17th career win, a call from Teresa and Dale Earnhardt. Ron, you made that look easy today.
It's never easy, but this Napa Brake Chevrolet has been awesome, and I tell you what, these guys are just unbelievable. I just thought they were going to come up there, but Fred kept this truck going all day. But I got to thank Action Collectibles. They're #1 in diecast. Burger King come aboard. I'm going to sit here and thank a lot of people because they deserve a lot of thanks. The Goodyear came out with a great tire. I'll tell you what, old Fred Graves. Come here, Fred. I tell you what, he does learn a lot of this thing. I tell you what.
Never mind this old stuff.
We sat there and did that 3rd gear, and all of a sudden Joe caught me. I put that thing to 4th and did spin them tires. This Napa Chevrolet has been awesome for 4 or 5 weeks. I don't know what to say. Teresa, Dale, thank you. All the Busch guys. I hope everybody does good tomorrow at the Watkins Glen, and hope my son runs good tonight. But man, I don't know. What a dream. I mean, what a roller coaster, up and down, and all support of this Napa team. I just can't believe it. All the guys back at the shop, it works hard on the bodies, and everybody, even the farm guys, they come over and help me out when I'm gone on the road so much. It takes a whole team, and I'm only the pilot of this rocket ship. I got to thank Teresa, Dale again, and say hi to my mom and dad, everybody back at home, and hell, I love Flemington.
Hey, more importantly, this rocket ship gained a lot of points in that championship hunt today.
I'll tell you what, I said I ain't going to think about points this year. You know, we were on a roller coaster so far, we're going down, but we got to start thinking about them pretty soon. It's going to come down to the last race, and we're going to be there, but we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. We got a couple more races we got to run hard at. We'll start thinking about points later. You know, breaking Mike Skinner's record. He's one tough hombre when it comes to these truck racing, and he set a good goal, and this Napa team's got it. The Chevrolet's like a rock, I'll tell you what. Track's coming up a little places, and kitty litter, everything. I don't know what to say. Craftsman, NASCAR, everybody. How long can we go?
He beat Mike Skinner's record. Now he hopes to become the first guy to be a repeat champion in the Truck Series.
Wouldn't put it past him the way they're running, Matt. That's for darn sure. Congratulations to Ron Hornaday. And there's a guy who really deserves credit today. Started 22nd, comes home 3rd, beaten and bruised after the injuries of Indianapolis. Our Mopar high performer of the event is Rich Bickle. That event, an award sponsored by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Jeep and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Our congratulations to Rich Bickle. A super run today. Don't go away. More coming up on TNN in a moment. Welcome back to Flemington. We told you next Saturday night we will be in Nashville for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Well, right after we sign off next Saturday evening, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws stars will let it all hang out. The most prestigious and highest paying event in sprint car racing, the Amoco Knoxville Nationals. That is following our truck race from Nashville. So next Saturday evening, roughly 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, right here on TNN Motorsports. We'll have it all for you. World of Outlaws Racing following the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Good run for Joe Ruttman today. You don't know what would have happened with a few more laps. Started 14th. Beaten and bruised just a tad there, Matt, but that truck came home in 2nd.
Sure did, Eli. Joe, it seems like you keep finishing 2nd to that Hornaday guy.
I don't know. I should have got in there again because I got in and then I won, but hats off. He was pretty shrewd late in the race. He slowed the pace down and enticed the outside to me, but he was waiting for the 17 to catch up, and I got to give him credit. That's a pretty good move. Not that I didn't think he could do it, but it's pretty shrewd. He slowed down just enough to let Beil catch up, so that he knew if I was going to give him a go on the outside, but he knew I probably wouldn't because I could have lost 2nd. So it's just kind of interesting how he backed off, this whole Ford will have to get him. I don't know how we're going to derail him, but we're going to get him.
2 wins this season. This is your 4th, 2nd place. This team's really coming together.
Well, it's like kissing your sister. 2nd is like last. You're here to win, but I got hats off to the boys with the LCI Ford. They really saved me at halftime. Randy made some changes, and I don't know what he did, but it made us good. And I made Hornaday worry anyway. When he saw that I was going to pick him up. It was interesting what he did. So I got that book open, and I've got all those tricks marked down, so he can't pull them off the next time.
If you had about another 5 laps, you think you might have been able to catch him?
No, what he was doing is he slowed down enough that he let Beil catch up, so that he knew that I'd think twice before I went to the outside. And then if Beil had gone to the outside, then he would have picked up the pace. He deliberately slowed us down and stayed on the bottom. It's just a shrewd move, really. Hats off to you, Ron. You did it.
These guys are having a great season, Eli.
Sure are, and of course, with the victory today for Hornaday, Chevrolet continues to lead Ford and Dodge in the manufacturers' battle. It was 125 points to 100 to 79 for Dodge coming in, so that's going to spread just a little bit more. Don't forget, folks, you can get all the wrap-up information from our race today and enjoy the Bud at the Glen tomorrow as it unfolds on your computer. www.nascar.com. That's NASCAR Online, your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. Check it out tomorrow. Get all the information from the Glen as it unfolds with Todd Bodine on the Bush Pole. More from Flemington. We're back in just a moment. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Stevens Beil Genuine Car Parts 200 has been brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Jeep and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. And by the new Dodge. It's about change. Now the fans filing on in towards the infield to see what these trucks are like up close. And let's take a look at the finishing order there, Phil.
Okay, great run by Hornaday. Ruttman charged to finish 2nd. What a yeoman effort by Rich Bickle to come all the way from where he started with broken ribs and finish 3rd. Great job. Jack Sprague was able to keep the point lead, obviously, by finishing 4th right behind Rich Bickle. Rick Corelli, a good run. Jay Sauter, also a good run. Mike Wallace gave Kenny Schrader's truck a good run.
Yeah, top 7 before the day was done. Dave Dave Rezendes there in 17th spot. Our Bush pole sitter Terry Cook with an ailing truck in 18th position. And on down the line, Kenny Irwin with his problems. Remember, he comes home in 25th. And then those who retired from 26th position on back. What does it all do as far as the points are concerned in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series? Well, it's going to tighten things up even more. Look at that. 5 points.
That's incredible. Really, the top 4 all the way down to Ron Hornaday, who was 84 points out of the lead. I mean, that's just, as we talked earlier, trouble in one race.
So that's how the points stack up heading to Nashville next weekend. Of course, we'll be there with you on Saturday night as part of that big motorsports doubleheader right here on TNN Motorsports. We do want to remind you that This Week in Country Music is coming up next here on the Nashville Network. Hope you can stick around and enjoy that. Ron Hornaday. Yeah, he earned that in his last 8 races. He has 6 wins and 7 top 10 finishes. Quite a performance for that young man. Hope you enjoyed our day today here in Flemington. For Phil Parsons and Matt Yoakum, I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for joining us. So long, everybody.